Everything you said, Courtney, about the Eagles is spot on. I'm going to challenge Mad Dog because I think he kind of buried the lead there. You think that Dak Prescott is overrated? In what world, sir?
Absolutely. Booger, come
How
on.
so?
Well, he's not top 10 quarterback in the NFL. No way. If you look at the...
That's not what you said. No. You didn't say whether he was top 10.
Well,
you said he's overrated. Those were your words. Explain to me how he's overrated.
Well, first off, has he ever won a road playoff game in his career? Did he play well against San Francisco? Played poorly. I mean, he didn't play well against the Rams in the NFC second-round game a couple years ago. I just don't. I'm not a big believer. Listen, he's decent. But if you look at the quarterbacks in the NFL that can win a Super Bowl, I don't know if Prescott can do that. And I guess that, and I think because he's a
Let's not confuse.
Go ahead.
Let's not confuse accomplishments from a team standpoint with deciding whether or not the individual player is overrated. I remember last year in Tampa, first game of the season, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady on the same field. Who was the best player on the field? It was Dak Prescott. He was the best player on the field that night. Okay, so that showed me that Dak Prescott belongs in the upper echelon of quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now, sometimes when we get injured, we play a little bit differently or things don't affect us. But you cannot tell me that you didn't watch that game opening night. I think 36 million people watched that game. And you couldn't tell me Dak Prescott didn't belong in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. So when you say that this man is overrated, I think you might want to set back just a little bit, young man.
Well, hold on now, Booger. He was outplayed by Garoppolo. Garoppolo's not an upper echelon quarterback. He did not play well against San Francisco at all. Plus, he screwed up the clock at the end. He didn't realize with the scramble. He didn't know the rule. With the whole thing with the judge, well, he didn't know the rule. He's quarterback, got to know the rule.
Yeah, I mean,
got to know the rule.
My lasting memory of Dak Prescott, Booger, from last season is that run that he made, the ill-advised play with 14 seconds left, and then forgetting to hand the ball to the referee in order to reset it, and then the clock runs out. If you're thinking about everything he's going to be doing this offseason to try to improve, you don't think that's going to be seared into his brain? I mean, elite quarterbacks, the upper echelon of quarterbacks is not just guys who have all the physical tools. It's the mental part of the game, too. They were down 23-7 at halftime. They were awful. And it wasn't just him. 14 penalties for 89 yards is trash. That is not a good football team at the peak of competition. Now, do I think that those things are going to carry over? You'd like to think that those are like the sort of things that you work on in the offseason. But for Dak Prescott, you know, I have to wonder, too, just about the in-between-the-ears thing with that moment. Like, how do you make sure that doesn't happen again? Because that, for a lot of people, is going to be what determines what class of category you put him in, of quarterback you put him in.
I remember a certain quarterback on a Thursday night in Chicago that forgot what down it was and held up 4 fingers. Remember who that was? That was Tom Brady. Things happen, and we're not calling Tom Brady overrated. Things happen in football. What I'm telling you is in a team sport that is so built around the quarterback position, when you look at the top 32 quarterbacks in this league, you'd be hard-pressed to tell me that Dak Prescott does not belong in the top 10. Now, I get it. He hasn't always come up big in the biggest moments. And guess what? A lot of guys didn't do that till later in their career. We're getting really flabbergasted by what's happening now with Josh Allen and Murray and Mahomes because they're doing it so young in the first 2 or 3 years of their career. But Dak Prescott, his talent, how he's played, what he's come up with in key moments, Mad Dog and Courtney, I think we're selling him a little bit short when it comes to where he is and where he should be based on some individual errors or individual performances that he's had.
Booger, Brady won 6 Super Bowls. We're going to bring up a play in Chicago when he didn't know that he screwed it up.
We're bringing up a play
championships.
We're bringing up one play for Dak Prescott against in the playoffs. So if you can bring up one, I can too.
I understand that, but I mean Brady had won 6 before he made the mistake. Prescott hasn't won any. He hasn't won anything. And I don't know, you can't tell me he's a top 10 quarterback. The quarterbacks in the AFC West are better. Rodgers is better. Lamar Jackson's better. Burrow's better. Brady's better. I even started here. I will guarantee it that I will come up with 10 quarterbacks better than Prescott. And listen, I'm not saying that the report card is complete, because he has a chance to, raise the level and win some playoff games, and McCarthy's not Tom Landry. We understand that. But I don't know how in the world we can sit there and say that Dak Prescott's a big-time player at the position. There's no evidence of that, Boog. And you know more football. You played it. You know more football than I do. There is no evidence that Prescott, where is it shown in his career that he is a big-time NFL quarterback? Show me the games.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.